Oh hi, good morning or good evening wherever you are, and welcome to my OnePlus 13 review, which I'm bringing to you from the balcony, a balcony in Las Vegas. Look at that view we've got. Let me give you a bit of a tour. We've got the Bellagio over there, they're the famous fountains, Paris, not real Paris obviously, Venetian somewhere over there, and if I zoom in, you can see the Sphere. That is very cool. But anyway, we're here to talk about the OnePlus 13 and whether you should buy one. And I reckon there's sort of 7 things you should know before you make that decision. And the first one, let's just jump straight in, is the price. This guy will cost you £899, the same in dollars, which, while the US price hasn't changed, is actually about 50 quid more than last year's OnePlus 12 launch price. Now the trouble is, you may already have seen a whole bunch of reviews and unboxings of the 13 because it launched in China late last year. However, now we have the global version, which is running Oxygen OS rather than Color OS, which they have in China. Number 2, the battery. The 6,000 mAh battery to be specific, which is up from 5,400 that we had in last year's OnePlus 12 and is the biggest battery we've ever seen crammed into a OnePlus. It is nuts. To give you an idea, running an identical test on the 12 and 13, after 6 hours of YouTube and gaming and social media and 4K video recording, usual intensive stuff, the 12 was down to 52% versus the 13 at 57%. But it actually gets better because I ran a second battery test last night, overnight, just playing YouTube, and after 10 hours, this one is down to 33%, the 12, and the 13 on 48%. So right out of the gate, we're looking at a bigger battery and a much longer battery life. But make sure you have hit that subscribe button and also importantly that little notification bell. I think only like 12% of you guys actually have the bell checked because I will be making a full flagship battery rundown test in just a few weeks with the new Samsung phone. So make sure you stay tuned for that. Go from 0 to 100, that full 6,000 mAh capacity in about 36 minutes with a full speed compatible charger. And we still get 50 watt wireless charging as well. Although again, you'll need OnePlus's own wireless pad to get the full speed. Number 3, and of course we have to talk about the performance because we have the new Snapdragon X Elite. And just to give you a bit of an idea of what we're looking at in terms of the uptick in performance, in Geekbench 6, the OnePlus 13 is 36% faster for both single and multi-core, which is actually a pretty significant year-on-year gain, and we're seeing almost the exact same uptake in the graphics-heavy 3D Mark stress test, with a 35% higher peak score and a 44% higher low score. And if I scroll down, you can see that while they both used a similar amount of battery here, the 13 does get a bit hotter. And actually, I could feel it at the end of that stress test. The screen was noticeably warmer on the 13 than the 12. And that's something we are seeing in other phones using the X Elite. It can get quite hot under extreme sort of stress benchmarking tests. It's not something I've really experienced or had an issue with in everyday life, even with longer gaming sessions, which we'll talk about in a second, but it certainly has the capacity to get hotter. Although I'm curious if this material of this particular version of the OnePlus 13 has anything to do with that, and whether the glass versions will be cooler. Either way, it gets a touch hotter. But despite that, the new chip actually throttles less, we're seeing a higher stability score, and we see a big jump in frame rate. The trouble is though, it's kind of hard to show off these new chips in any meaningful way. There's not a benchmark. Obviously it runs every game flawlessly, but that's kind of been the case for the last couple of years now. And even the brand new Grid Legends, which looks absolutely stunning by the way, definitely recommend trying that, runs flawlessly. So mobile gaming's kind of just a given now. For me, it's more exciting to see what the new chip brings in terms of camera performance with the ISP, and also better efficiency and optimizations to improve battery life. But before we dive into the slightly odd situation of the camera with this year's OnePlus 13, we have to talk about this. I want to give OnePlus credit for designing what I think is one of the nicest, prettiest phones I've seen in a long time. Especially in this Midnight Ocean flavor, with its apparently industry-first microfiber vegan leather material. It's kind of hard to explain a texture over a video. One thing I can say though is that if I bring over my Apple polishing cloth here, because I'm an idiot who spent like 20 quid on one of these, the material, like the aesthetic, is pretty similar. It's kind of like having your own polishing cloth on the back of the phone, which ironically means you don't need one of these because it doesn't pick up fingerprints or smudges. I really like it, but this fancy material does make it about 0.5 millimeter thicker than the Arctic Dawn and Black Eclipse options, or, you know, white and black to you and me, and it's only available in the highest spec model, but if you can, I would recommend getting this one. Still, all OnePlus 13s, including this fancy material one, are a little bit slimmer and lighter than the OnePlus 12 series, which makes the fact that they've squeezed in an even bigger battery even more impressive. And while it's not a crazy departure from the OnePlus 12, or the 11, or the 10 for that matter, I just think they've nailed it. It's comfortable, it looks and feels premium. And we're basically getting a flat screen, which everyone loves, but with the slightest taper right at the edge on all four sides. It does mean the bezels look a little bit thicker on the new one versus the 12, although this has an even more curved edge to the screen, which is kind of why it's hidden around the side. We get excellent stereo speakers, we have this alert slider top left here, always a fan of having one of those, and little things as well, like they've redesigned the antennas, so holding it landscape while gaming doesn't impact the connection as much as it used to. If I had one complaint, it's that the volume and the power are just a little bit too high on the right hand side, particularly the volume rocker, where if you're using it one-handed, you kind of have to do some finger gymnastics to reach it. But it's not just a pretty face, because as well as the traditional IP68 water and dust resistance we're used to, we also now have IP69, which means it can survive hot jets of water up to, I believe, 80 degrees Celsius. So if you were to, I don't know, spill your coffee on it, or take it in the shower, or spill your coffee on it while you're in the shower, you've got nothing to worry about now. Number 5, the screen. Because while on the face of it, it looks pretty much the same, with a big 6.82-inch Quad HD dynamic 120Hz display, and with the brightness still topping out at 1600 nits in high brightness mode or 4500 nits for peak highlights, which is all the same as the 12, although we do get a couple of new things, including Radiant View, which improves the contrast and the colors when you've got the brightness maxed out, particularly outside, so the screen looks a little less washed out. There's a new glove mode, which I think is pretty self-explanatory, as well as Aqua Touch 2.0, which makes the screen easier to use if you've got water droplets on it, or if you've got it, say, in one of those waterproof pouches around your neck when you're going snorkeling on holiday. But wait, there's more, because for the first time on a OnePlus phone, they have gone with an ultrasonic fingerprint reader instead of the usual optical, which I found to be faster and more reliable, so very happy to see that. And apparently this is the first phone to be awarded a DisplayMate 888 Plus rating. Well done, OnePlus. It doesn't use Gorilla Glass though, unlike the Victus 2 we had on the OnePlus 12. Instead, they've gone for this new ceramic guard, which they say improves the durability and the scratch resistance. But for that test, because I kind of want to keep my phone nice as I'm going to use it going forward, I'm going to have to leave that to jerry-rig. So far so good then, but number 6, the camera. This is where things get a bit strange. Let's talk about the specs. OnePlus 12, OnePlus 13, okay? And we have basically an identical main camera. But then we have the telephoto, which has gone down from 64 megapixels to 50, although we are now getting a bigger sensor with larger pixels, so it should take in more light. But then the ultra-wide has, well, it's gone up 2 megapixels, but we have a fairly significantly smaller sensor and smaller pixel size. But as we all know, the camera's specs doesn't tell the full story. And if we just kick off with a few side-by-sides, old versus new, the differences are actually more significant than I expected. On the whole, I'd say it's a decent step up. The colors are a touch less oversaturated, the white balance appears more true to life. Then zooming right into 30 times, look how much sharper that swan is. But the camera experience, it just isn't consistent. If we switch back to some night to Vegas video here, and as I transition between the lenses, I would say it's a touch faster and smoother to zoom in and out on the 13 and pressing them at the exact same time side by side here. But sometimes, at least in this example of low light video, I prefer the 12. But in terms of photography, except for the ultra wide, I would still say it's a step up, particularly with longer range zoom. To be fair though, the ultra-wide still doubles as a pretty incredible macro camera. And not only that, but OnePlus have upgraded some of the camera features. For example, you can now shoot in 8K video at 30 FPS, up from 24 last year, although I'm not entirely sure how many people do shoot at 8K. You can also take pictures much faster with this new clear burst mode, and they're at full quality using the full dynamic range of the camera. You can record in Dolby Vision 4K 60 with all the cameras now, including the front selfie. And they've refined the portrait mode with this 5th generation Hasselblad collaboration. And then finally around the front, we have what's on paper an identical 32 megapixel selfie camera, but as you can see, they do look quite different. The OnePlus 13 is less contrasty, and in low light, while neither are great, there's less over sharpening, we've got a more natural background bokeh, but which do you actually prefer? Last but not least, let's talk about the software, because this ships with Android 15 and we have their Oxygen OS on top. And as you'd expect, we have a fair few AI features here, including the AI editor in the photo gallery app. You can Back to the Future style erase people, sorry about that Mrs. Tech Chap, and you can improve the clarity, remove reflections, the usual kind of stuff. Although it's worth noting that this isn't new for the 13 because I can also get it on my 12. And we have some other nifty AI features, including the AI assistant for the Notes app, which I actually find really useful. And here I'm summarizing the camera specs for the new OnePlus 13. Still, I am a big fan of Oxygen OS. It's incredibly fast, lots of personalization, the AI tools are handy, and OnePlus promised a solid 4 years of OS updates. Overall, it's a very nice upgrade, particularly with the battery life. It is a little bit disappointing we haven't seen more of an improvement in terms of the camera, although if the new Samsung S25 rumors are to be believed, not much is going to change there either. What I would say is that I do still prefer what you get on the Oppo Find X8 Pro, especially with that longer range zoom. I think it's just a slightly better camera system, but then I do prefer the software on the OnePlus, and I think the design's a little bit nicer as well. So between the two, I'd probably go with OnePlus, and I'm excited to see how this will stack up against the new Samsung and Honor and Xiaomi phones, so make sure you subscribe because the next few weeks are going to be very busy. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.